Tech Revision with Mrs. Swanee Pooh. Hi Year 11, this video is all about one of the focuses for the exam, selection of materials and components. This is straight from the AQA focus, so this was one of the focuses for the exam. So the main things we're going to look at today are on the next slide. And those are the sort of function of the materials and why they've been chosen for that particular product, why they may have been chosen for aesthetics, and potentially why they may have been chosen for environmental factors. So, straight away, you might want to pause the video here and you might want to have a little go at naming the different materials that would be used for these particular products. Okay, so if you've had a go at that, we're going to go through these one by one. Firstly, we're going to think a little bit about the certain types of properties that might be needed, but the materials that you hopefully should have identified are aluminium for the stepladder, high carbon steel, sometimes called tool steel or high-speed steel for the drill bit, ash for the handle of the, this is actually a wood turning chisel, but a chisel, and PET for the plastic bottle. So if you think about just for a moment why these materials are suitable for these products, think about what these products might be going through, how they're going to be used, what the user or the manufacturer needs from these materials to make these products successful. I've put use pages in the revision guide. You will find all of these materials listed in that first section. I think it's section 2 in the revision guide. So let's go through these together. One of the main reasons that aluminium is a good choice is it is very lightweight, but it has an extremely high strength to weight ratio. So it's really good for this application because the user still needs the product to be lightweight, easy to carry around, but they're going to be standing on it, so you need it to be really, really strong. Aluminium is also a malleable material, meaning that it's easy to form into different shapes, so hammered and shaped, and it's also non-ferrous, which means it's not going to go rusty outside, it's got no iron in it, so therefore it doesn't need to be painted or have any type of finish on it. It is non-ferrous. Right, the handle on the chisel or the lathe tool is ash because it absorbs shock and it's very, very hard. So if you imagine you were potentially hitting the top of that handle with a wooden mallet, you don't want the handle to be splitting or cracking. And also you don't want it to become scratched or dented. Next couple, for the drill bits, this material is very, very hard. It's resistant to abrasion and friction, so when it is actually drilling into other materials, you don't want it to be denting or changing shape. It maintains its strength and hardness at really high temperatures, so those are the benefits of that material. And PET, because it's a thermoplastic, it's easy to manufacture it and to recycle it. That's a big, important part. You can get it in completely transparent kind of forms, which is very important for this kind of product, so the user can see the water inside. It's got really good resistance to pressure. That doesn't really make any sense with this product, but it could be for a fizzy drink like Diet Coke or something like that. It's non-permeable, meaning the water is not going to escape out through the material, and it's very lightweight, which is going to help by not adding to extra costs in transportation. So we've spoken about why how function you might consider materials for different functions. We're now going to think about why materials are chosen for aesthetics. And when we're talking about aesthetics, we might be talking about the surface finish, or it could be the texture of the material, or it could be the colour. This is a example exam question, okay? So the question is, describe how aesthetics influence the selection and choice of materials in components in manufactured products, and it says give an example in your answer, and you've got 3 marks here, okay? So what could you talk about here? You know, why do, for certain products, why are the aesthetics important? First one you could talk about is the use of oak in something like a kitchen table. Oak is chosen because you can achieve a very high quality surface finish, a very attractive surface finish that shows the natural grain. So that could be one reason that you choose something like oak. It might be that for a sofa you want the material to have a certain kind of texture, so something like leather or you know, wool or anything like that could be used on a soft furnishing kind of product like this, because you might want it to have a warm, comfortable feeling that the user is going to enjoy. And the last one that you could talk about would be colour. So for example, if you were making a children's toy, you might want it to be really, really brightly coloured. That's going to you know, appeal to the target market of children, and you can achieve that through polymers because they can be easily pigmented and bright colours can be achieved. So here's some examples of the mark scheme for that question. So it says to get the 3 marks you need a detailed descriptive point with an example. So I can't emphasize enough really that when you're doing the exam, if it's asking you for an example, please make sure you give a specific example. Name a product, name a material, name a surface finish. Make sure that you do give an example if you are asked. So it's saying here, look, you could talk about colour, so that you could change colour. It could either fit in with the environment that you actually live in, so the curtain fabric in a lounge. It could be that it's the texture, the finish, so it makes it pleasant to touch, and the shape and the form. So here's some example answers for that question. This one could be potentially a good answer, and this one would get 3 marks. The surface finish needs to be carefully considered as products often need a high quality smooth finish to be attractive to consumers. Oak would be suitable for a table due to its ability to be finished to a very high gloss with wax or varnish, making it pleasant to touch. So there you can see I focused on surface finish. This one I focused in on texture. Texture is important, and you might link it back to aesthetics again, especially on home furnishings such as sofas. Upholstery fabric can be soft and warm to ensure the comfort of the user. Leather is often used on sofas as it is smooth and soft against the user's skin. So there's another full mark answer to that question. And the last one, colour is an essential element of a product's design. The choice of colour is important as it will determine who the product will appeal to. A children's toy needs bright, vibrant colours, so a polymer such as HIPS would be a good choice. If you've watched the polymer video, you'll remember that HIPS is a good choice for kids' products. It's high impact, which is good for any drops or anything like that, but also you can get nice bright colours, and it can be easily pigmented and has a glossy finish. So you might want to have a go at writing your own answer to that kind of question and try and think of an example or use one of the examples that I've given you there to help you answer that kind of question. Right, the last thing we're going to talk about is that your choice of materials could be based on how the impact on the environment. So lots of companies now are realizing that consumers want something that is sustainable, that is environmentally conscious, and they don't want big companies to be damaging the environment with their products. So this is an example, there's a couple of examples here. Nike actually are making a whole range of clothing based from recycled bottles. Some other really good examples are some trainers that actually use recycled plastic and coffee grounds in them, because believe it or not, actually coffee and the grounds that are used, and that's disposed of once the water has gone through the coffee and taken on the flavour. The actual grounds goes straight into the bin, and it's quite a lot of waste. So this company actually takes plastic bottles and coffee grounds and makes them into a product. And here's some other examples. So things like this toothbrush is made from recycled plastic, and once you've finished with it, you can mail it back to the company and they will recycle it when you have finished using it. So you can see that the materials are constantly being reused. Yoga mats made from damaged wetsuits, reusing a lot of the polymers that are in wetsuits, things like neoprene. And this skateboard is made from fishing nets, which could potentially end up in our oceans. You can see that it's being recovered there and used for an actual useful product. So I hope that gives you a few things that you could talk about for the selection of materials, why it's important. So if you are asked about anything to do with selecting materials for their function, their aesthetics, or their impact on the environment, just make sure that you've got some decent examples you can talk about. Make sure that you have some ideas of what you could write for that kind of question, and maybe have a go at the exam question that is in this video. Right, I hope that was useful. See you on the next one.